So anytime I think that you guys are going to have a lucky day because of what I'm going to share, that means that I'm probably going to have an unlucky day. And the reason behind that is because all my interesting stories, at least if they're about myself, cause me a lot of stress. But I know that they are ones that you guys either want to hear, you would want to hear if you knew that they existed, or you will enjoy them. So I'm going to sacrifice my own mental health in order to bring you all a moment of entertainment. I know that we've been talking a lot about Elizabeth Teckenbrock lately, and I'm very sad to tell you that this channel is not always going to be about that. I will always update you guys and share all the information that I have because I do love to talk about crimes and injustices, and she is the most unjust criminal I've ever seen and met. And I do have a massive update on that, which I'm going to do another video on. But I kind of wanted to use the Teckenbrock shift and talk about something that I have hinted at and Cece has hinted at. If you watch her latest YouTube video, she talks about my catfish story. And if you haven't heard any of it, I know you are sat. I know you're sat the fuck down. If you haven't heard it, you should hurry up and sit down because it's a doozy. I'm not going to be able to do it all in one video. And I've kind of gone back now that I've had some more questions and some more thoughts about everything and how it might be linked to Elizabeth. And we have to start all the way at the beginning in November of 2022. And I'm going to kind of go through it chronologically, but also I'm going to talk about some of the actual psychological side of things because it is such a misunderstood concept and thing that happens so much more than people even understand. And if we don't talk about it, then people will never feel comfortable to ask for help if they go through something like this, or hopefully people will just start talking about it enough that they see the warning signs and they stop themselves before they get in as deep as I did, which was fucking horrible. So before we get started, I kind of want to give a little bit of a disclaimer or a trigger warning, maybe a disclosure, a warning in general. This video and any other video that I do about the Catfish series is going to be one that could be difficult to watch if you have ever experienced something like this. I'm going to be talking about discussions of emotional manipulation, obviously deception, that's the whole thing, psychological abuse, coercive control, fraud, betrayal, and overall trauma. It is not easy to talk about. I'll probably get emotional at some points and probably dissociate at others. I'm going to be sharing real text messages, real recordings, real videos, real photographs, and events that took place in real time in my life over the course of several years. And if you have ever been in an emotionally abusive relationship, experienced gaslighting in any type of duo or otherwise, any sort of atmosphere, if you've ever been the victim of a scam, a romance scam, been catfished yourself, or you've lived through manipulation by somebody that you trusted, then these conversations might be even more triggering for you because you have been the person that I am before. So obviously my intention is not to sensationalize what happened to me or anybody else's pain. My intention in sharing this is the opposite. So my intention in sharing this is that I hope that it helps somebody because for a very, very long time I was extremely embarrassed to tell this story because I was always afraid of how people would react, and I was afraid of the question of how could you have let this happen? You're a lawyer, how stupid are you? And what I have learned is that manipulation does not happen all at once. It does not happen to a certain type of person. Honestly, I think that people who are doing the manipulating like the challenge of somebody that's smarter. It happens one small step at a time. And until you are living in a reality that you have experienced something like this, you cannot understand. So it is my hope that I can help give you a glimmer, a glimpse into the life. So if you do have somebody in your life that could use your help, maybe this can help you. Or if you've never experienced this, and my experience helps you recognize maybe a warning sign. I've had friends call me and they're like, Rachel, what the fuck? Is this a warning sign? Should I be running away? Should I be calling the police? And I literally tell everyone the same thing, yes. You have got to be highly hyper vigilant and hyper aware and not afraid to be an asshole because you have to protect yourself. So if this helps anybody recognize the warning signs, or if it helps any other type of survivor or person that's going through it or has a family member that's going through it, if it makes them realize that they are not alone, then I have done what I want to do, because this is the loneliest thing you can ever go through. It is the most insane, it's just like the opposite of what you think that it would be. But if at any point in time that you get overwhelmed or you are just fully unwell because of this story, take a pause, obviously, step back and come back whenever you need to, or don't come back at all. And I won't be offended, obviously. But if I lived through it, I think that you guys can probably get through a couple of videos, but your well-being at the end of the day is more important than finishing a series. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that deep. You will survive without it, and there'll be plenty of other stories. So, but if this does resonate with you and you're afraid to keep watching, maybe that's a sign that you should, but do so carefully. Okay? So anyway, with that being said, I want to go through the definitions and what it actually means to be catfished first, because I feel like a lot of people have different understandings, and I think that a lot of people have misconceptions. So what is catfishing? So when most people hear that word, they immediately think, oh, somebody used a fake profile online and got your attention. Ironically, I have a client that did that, and he was one of the first catfishers back on MySpace, but I will talk about him another day. But the reality is that real catfishing is a lot more than that, and it has evolved into the scariest and most often used scam. At its core, catfishing is when somebody creates a false identity or uses the identity of somebody else and manipulates another person into forming a relationship. It can be a friendship, it can be romantic, it can be business. It doesn't really matter, but the goal is not just to fool that person, right? The goal is to gain something. And the question is, in some situations, what? Especially if they're not after money. But it can be money, it can be attention, it can be control, it can be entertainment at your expense. And I think that what I have also learned is that it can be something much darker, much deeper than any of those things. So yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions about catfishing, honestly, is that only lonely, naive, or stupid people can become victims. That's just simply not true. If you could not tell by exhibit A, I'm exhibit attitude, exhibit autistic. Okay, you know I'm funny. But I'm serious. Victims can include anybody. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, members of the military, business owners, police officers, brilliant people from every single walk of life, because catfish they don't really look for people who are gullible. I think that they actually enjoy the challenge for people that are smarter, and they look for people who are trusting, empathetic, and willing to give others the benefit of the doubt or a second chance. So a lot of times, individuals that they will look for or that they end up attracting are people like myself, who have either gone through something that has put them in a more vulnerable position, or maybe just have more of an outlook on life. They're more flexible in the people that they will accept in. I have always been somebody that's believed in second chances because of my job and just because of other things that I've gone through personally. And unfortunately, in this situation, that kind of bit me in the ass. But another misconception that I think is kind of becoming more prevalent is that some people, I think, assume that you would know immediately if something felt wrong. There was a podcast called Something Was Wrong, and it's something that I made my mom listen to when I first when I told her about this whole situation, because she really had a hard time understanding how someone like myself, her really smart daughter, could have found herself in this position. And after she listened to one of the seasons, she was like, okay, I get it. And that podcast is so well done. I actually tried to go on it multiple times, because the premise is that in every relationship, you might feel that something's wrong. You might feel something deep down is off. If you have that feeling, you should trust it. You might not know what it is at first, but these episodes and these series that she talks about, these stories, are about people who knew something in their gut was wrong, and it wasn't until it came to like full circle that all the pieces came together, and it's like, holy shit. Because most of the times these people won't lead with obvious lies. It's things that just kind of give you a stomach ache deep down. And they make sure that they develop slowly over time so they can build your trust in the process. Because if they don't have trust, they don't have credibility. And if they don't have credibility, they will not ever have access to you for long periods of time. And that is how they gain full control over you, as they sprinkle in enough truth to make the lies believable over time. It's like breadcrumbing. And over time, as you have that trust in them, they will actually employ other types of psychological tactics, if you will, whether that's through manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, etc., which I'm going to get to. But they create an atmosphere that feel like you have no choice but to trust them, because it's acceptable, it's reasonable. Their excuses sound legitimate. Their lies don't sound like lies, they sound like truths. And they will isolate you from everyone in your life that could have told you otherwise. And so by the time that those people come back, baby girl, you're so deep. And that's exactly where the catfish wants you. You become invested. And I don't mean financially, I mean emotionally. I mean the time that you put into this person. That by the time you kind of come to that realization that, oh my God, what have I done? It is so hard to recognize and accept that this is what's happened because I've invested all this time. What are you talking about? This has not been for anything that I thought it was going to be. Your expectations are no longer a reality. And because the story could possibly end, it almost makes you irrational. But you're not irrational. You're just not. So, this like irrational fear that you have, when you get to that place, normally it's because this catfisher, scammer, whoever they are, it's because they have candidly used some tactics, whether it is mental, emotional, psychological, or otherwise, but those tactics have been equated or compared to grooming, compared to coercive control, because that is what happens. They do take control of your life, and it's not like the victim is making this one huge irrational decision that we can spot from a mile away from the outside looking in. Instead, they are making hundreds of small decisions based off of information that they believe is true. So looking back, it might be obvious for them to identify, even for others to identify, but while you live through it, it is very rarely something that you can see. And there's something that people really don't talk about a lot, and that is the fact that a lot of times these victims will still choose to defend the catfishers even after they have recognized the lies. And the reason that is because manipulation creates these emotional bonds that do not disappear overnight. And even though the relationship may have been fake, a lot of those emotions and those connections were not. Whether they were based off of lies or otherwise, you can't just break that with the drop of a hat. You can't just snap your fingers and wake up from this nightmare, right? This has been a part of your life, and to acknowledge that you have been bamboozled is not only something that is mentally exhausting and psychologically traumatizing, but it is also something that takes time, and admitting to yourself that you wasted that time is one of the hardest parts of this. And I will get to this eventually, but even some of the women that I've met, because of my own experience, some of them are still in denial. They still defend this person. And it's very hard to watch, and that part for me is very triggering, because it makes me want to, am I wrong? It makes me want to question my own self now. But I'm able to recognize the difference between reality and this kind of fake world that was created by this person. And I'm not afraid of people to laugh at me anymore. And that's kind of, I think, one of the underlying drivers. It drives them that way because they don't want to feel embarrassed. They already feel embarrassed. And if they have to be more of that, they would rather live in this false reality. And I can't say that I blame them, because the alternative appears probably much harder and a lot worse from where they're standing right now. So a lot of times one of the reasons why people get embarrassed is because people will ask them, how did you not know? And I think that the better question for everyone, and write this down, is how did someone become skilled enough to deceive another fucking human being for so long? How much of a manipulative con artist are you that you were able and capable of convincing this very intelligent person with a full life to not only make space for you in that life, but to make space for somebody that you are not? And that's the question that we should be asking, because that's a question that could be asked of any of us one day. So over the next couple of videos, I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what happened to me, from the first conversation to our first couple of messages to our first missed meet cute at the airport. I've been doing too much. I did too much. And this is going to expose a lot of stuff about me. And you guys are going to get to know me pretty well. And some of you guys might not like me at the end of this, honestly, and that's okay. Because like I said, if this helps one person, then hopefully it'll be worth it. I keep saying the word hope, which is going to become important later. So just remember that. And if you know why, don't say it yet, okay? But anyway, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So we might as well spread awareness, talk about it, get comfortable with it, because getting comfortable is the only way to stop being uncomfortable. So I guess I'll start there. I was fucking catfished. There's a couple of things that you need to know about me before we get into this, of the person that I was at this time. And I'm going to puke. Looking back at this period of my life is like really tragic. I just like feel like I'm not, I know I'm not the same person, but like even physically, I am ick. So think about it like this. At this time, so this is November of 2022, I was divorced for 1 year. Since that time, I had gone through one long-term, long-distance relationship that led to a horrifying breakup in the public eye that led me down a spiral of shit show. I thought at the time I was having a fun time in life, but in hindsight, girl, you were a sloppy mess, okay? I was sharing everything online. I was very open. I was very trusting, too open, too stupid. But I would just let people in. Probably could have died. Probably should have died. And now that I'm going back and looking through pictures and videos, it's so funny to see like my face evolve, because my face was a little chunky. And by little, I mean a lot. Let's look at this video that I posted, because I was also so cringe. I was so cringe, and I did not give a shit. That was painful as fuck. Well, apparently that was so painful and so tragic and hard for me to watch that I had to mentally step back from this for a whole week. I'm just kidding, but I did take a pause. And then in my defense, I went to finish recording this at my house last week. And for some reason, the original, that first portion, was like fucked up. So I tried to re-record the whole thing, and then I found this part. You don't need to hear the backstory, but long story short, I feel like I've abandoned you and I have to apologize, and that's my way of taking accountability, and I will do better. I hope I'll do better, because it was giving me anxiety every single day that I was not recording this. Like, I'm literally taking breaks today during my work stuff just to make sure that I can get through this video, because I do have so many videos that I want to make for you guys, and this is just kind of like one of those ones that I have to get out there just to start this process, and it is a process. Sorry, I had to put my hair up because I realize this is going to be a little bit torturous for me, but it is definitely, I don't know, it's more difficult than it felt the first time. Maybe because I've learned more, I don't know. But anyway, let's not waste any more fucking time, and let's go back to November of 2022. I don't know where you were, but I know exactly where I was, and that was I was just so unaware of how unwell I was, I think. And there's no way that I could have ever grasped that at the time, because I was not in a position to recognize that, even if I had been in all the right there's just no way. There's just no way. And what I mean by that is, obviously, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is everything in this story, because I was in a position of my life where I was believing that I was healed, eager to start that next chapter, whatever that looked like, and I always hoped that love would come find me and I would not have to go find it. My entire life, I've always been quite the rom-com girly. I've always believed that my life could be a rom-com. I wanted that perfect meet cute. Like, if you're not a rom-com person, like, Brandon does not like rom-coms, and that actually breaks my heart, because I realized that, number one, I like them because I have anxiety, and every single rom-com is fucking the same, right? Every plot is, to a T, has the same basic things every single time. That's number one. Number two, though, I love the love. I love, them meeting and then them having this dramatic moment, and then they fall back in love and end up happily ever after. I think I also like this because my parents are divorced, and I've had really shitty relationships, partly because of that, but also because of my own faults, whatever. So this moment in my life, I thought that I was ready for that. So I was like, you know what, if it fucking falls in my lap, I'm going to take it. Okay? Now, keep in mind, this is also the week of Thanksgiving. At the time, I was going through more of a financial hardship than I think that I was willing to recognize or to admit. And it was because I had gone through a divorce. It was just, a lot of things were going on at the time. So I was on live on TikTok a lot at the time. I know that there's a version of live on YouTube as well, but what I was doing is I was going on there, and I was an ambassador for a couple of clothing brands, and I was actively showing things to people, hoping that people obviously would spend money with my commission link, whatever. No hate to people that do that all the time, but that's just not me. I'm not a good salesperson. Like, I can barely remember to link things that people want to purchase of mine, let alone get on there and sell them for the companies and whatnot. So yeah, that was hard for me, but that period of time, and because it was like, obviously with Thanksgiving, Black Friday, it was like the time to sell. It was the time that people were looking to buy stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to take advantage. I made a lot of really cringy videos. I could show you guys more, but I'm not in a position that I could take that mentally right now, because they are horrifying. Like, they're so bad. Okay, I did find one picture that I will show you guys, because I think it's just a selfie of myself. Must have been feeling myself. I don't know why. This is not an attractive photo, but anyway. This picture's from November 19th of 2022. So, the horror. Ironically, that's my dad's birthday, and it's also my divorce anniversary, so that would have been 1 year after I got divorced. Praise be. Anyway. So, I already said that it was a week of Thanksgiving, week of Black Friday, Black Friday. And so I was going live a lot. And during one of my lives, my best friend Kayla, so I will change some of the names in this story. If I'm going to change someone's name, I'll tell you guys that it's a changed name. So like, for example, if you followed this story on my TikTok, then you know that I called the catfish by the name Cat. That's a little bit confusing, and I don't really want to do that. I'm going to try to keep their names as close to like their real names as possible, but still changing them because they are real people. So this person's name is going to be Brian, okay? Brian is now the official catfish name. That's the person I thought I was talking to. So this is important for a reason later on. So Kayla texted me during a live. She was watching and she was like, I think that there's like a really attractive guy in here that lives in Tampa. I'm like, shut up. I would have seen him. Because I was a little bit boy crazy. Okay, I just was. And she was like, no, I'm serious. Here's his like username, da 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 da. So I'm like trying to catch this person on the like in the chat. And I of course missed them. So when I got off, I went and I found his profile, and of course it was private. And I was like, all right, cool, you follow me, so let's see if he'll add me back. So I pushed follow back, and then a couple minutes later it was accepted, and I was like, oh shit, let's go down the rabbit hole. And honestly, normally I feel like when people have private accounts, they don't really have videos of themselves, so I was not expecting anything, but there was like 15 videos that included pictures of himself that replicated the person, or videos of the person that was actually in the photo. So before I had added him though, I of course made sure that he was attractive. Okay, I'm not a fool. So even though he was a private user, I could still enlarge the photo that was on the top of his screen. So I already knew that I thought he was attractive. I think that he had like a shirtless photo with like a tattoo. I was like tall, dark, handsome, cool. Maybe he lives in Tampa, we'll see. So after he had added me back and I had looked at some of the videos, I sent him a message. Because again, at the time I felt like I had nothing to lose and everything to prove. So I sent him a message. We messaged back and forth for a while, and we ended up switching over to texting. And I quickly learned that this person alleged that they were living in Tampa, but they were from Boston, and that they were actually on their way home to Boston for Thanksgiving, which made perfect sense. It was like, I think Tuesday maybe. It was Tuesday, because I was actually going out of town that week as well. So what I was told from this first conversation was that this person was an ex-military, but still in the military, but doing like other work, like in IT. So high class, confidential, private stuff, right? So that was told to me right after the bat in terms of like the things that they could only disclose so much. It was pretty confidential, and I didn't really push that because my grandfather actually was in the Marines and still does a lot of stuff for them, even though he's inactive, but I digress. So I kind of was just like, okay, cool. That's like, I love that you're private. I wish I was more private, but I'm also really public. Is that a problem? Like, I was very, very upfront about that, because obviously when you meet someone in that way, you're like, I don't love that I have this many followers, but it is what it is. No problem. He's fine with it. All fine and good. So he's like, yeah, I'm going home though for Thanksgiving. I'll be back on Sunday. So I was actually doing an abnormal or an unusual Thanksgiving that week as well. I was not doing my normal go to my aunt's house in Stewart and spend it with my family, because my sister's best friend at the time, Sarah, was getting married. So we actually flew up to New Jersey. I flew up to New Jersey the day after Thanksgiving. My sister and my mom were already up there, and I was watching our dogs. So Tuesday we started talking, and the conversation was flowing well enough, and there was not like, it wasn't so many back and forths that it was overwhelming, if that makes sense. Like, it was very witty banter, very easy, but it wasn't to the point that I was like, this person's like love bombing me, or they're coming on too strong. It was just all about personal, like, life and just in general. I think the next couple of days it got like, obviously, like, you started talking about like deeper things and whatnot, but obviously this person was going back to Boston where they're from, was going to be staying with their parents and was seeing their friends, and like obviously was going to be doing things. So I was like, do your thing. I don't know you well enough yet to fucking call you out or do anything like that. So I'm like, have fun. I will say though, this person was more attentive than I would have realized or that I would have expected. So that was obviously, at the time, that to me was a green flag. I'm like, oh my God, like, this person wants to get to know me, even though they're gone for like a week basically. They care enough, or they're interested enough that they want to still get to know me beyond what they've seen on the screen. Which I will say, there was a lot of information already known because of how open that I was. And I did not see that as a red flag at the time, but maybe I should have. So the next day was Wednesday. I don't know if there was anything exciting about that. But then Thursday was Thanksgiving. My really good friend from law school and her now wife came over, and we had like a brunch, right? So the night before, he had gone to a Friendsgiving. And this is important later on because he had disclosed to me that he had an ex-girlfriend that was still part of the same friend group as his. And trying to be like, and honestly, I shouldn't even say trying, but I'm not really a jealous person, honestly, especially if I don't know you well enough yet. And I'm like, cool, like I love that for you. If you're saying that there's nothing there, why would I give you the benefit of the doubt until you prove to me that I shouldn't. Funny now. Should not have lived that way before, but whatever. So I had talked to him though the night before after the Friendsgiving. He literally messaged me before, like when he got back. He said it was fine, everything was great, everybody had a good time, nothing like to report, whatever. So the morning of Thanksgiving, we were chatting about when he was coming back, because by that time, so think about it, it's been like 2 days of a lot of back and forth discourse, if you will. And he was like, I really would like to take you on a date and meet you when I get back to Florida. And I was like, I would like that a lot. Like there was like just a connection. I don't know how to say it, but I put some of our messages into ChatGPT a while ago, and they were like, this is a very fast and deep conversation. Like this is going through layers and layers of information very quickly, which my chat was like, girl, what the fuck? What the fuck? And that's just how I am, though. I feel like I just like to get, I don't know. Again, the things we learn later. But, so on the Thanksgiving morning when I was getting ready for my friends to come over, he's like telling me that he wants to take me out. And I'm like, so when do you come back to Florida? He's like, I come back Sunday morning. And this is where, honestly, I blame myself for a lot of the things that happened, because I was maybe wanting things to move quicker than they were supposed to, or I was trying to play puppeteer in this game of life when, like, you know, if you make a plan, God laughs. God laughed right in my fucking face, because I said, God, how do I get this man at the airport at the same time as me? And then I started thinking to myself, there was a Taylor Swift trend that was going on. Let me see if I can find it really quick, because I know that I mentioned it on my TikTok videos, and it's so funny for this part of the story. Okay, so the trend at the time was called like the Mastermind trend, and it was basically to the Taylor Swift song that basically talks about how like there's nothing that accidentally happens. I was going to show you guys a video, but I don't know if I can find the best one, but like this is just an example I found. It's like when I accidentally left my wallet in his car after our first date, so he would have to call me to return it, and now we've been married for 26 years to the song. What if I told you none of it was accidental in the first night that you saw me? So, you know, in my defense, I was just trying to comply with the trend. So what did I do? I said, when are you coming back to Tampa? He says, I'm on this flight. He like literally gives me the flight number, and he's like, I land at like some early time on Sunday. So what do? I've never in my life so quickly brought up my laptop and had my phone on at the same time. And I literally I already had a flight, right? Like I'm going to New Jersey on Friday. I already had a flight back on Sunday. But what do? I changed my flight. I know. I'm insufferable. Like that's actually so cringy. But I changed my flight and so I could land around the same time, and I came back and then text and I go, oh my God, you're joking. I go, that's literally right when I land as well. That is crazy. Honestly, at the time, it got a little bit quiet, and he told me later that he had like was freaked out and was like, that kind of like made me uncomfortable, like because it just felt like maybe he's like, I don't even want to say the word fate, but I don't know, it was one of those moments that who knows, wasn't obviously fate. I fucking knew it wasn't fate because I had obviously done it myself, but in the grand scheme of the story, it's weird. Like I don't know, it definitely plays a role in like my thought process. So he's like, okay, let's get coffee then. At first he was like a little bit weird about it. He's like, no, this is like kind of like fate, if you will. He's like, I don't really believe in that, but fuck it, let's just get coffee when we land then. So I'm thinking to myself, hell yeah, brother, hell yeah, Rachel, you did it, you fucking manifested this. Did I manifest what happened next? Because oh my God. Cool. So my friends come over for Thanksgiving brunch. We have a really great day. I'm watching my sister's dog and my dog, which she only had one dog, Peach, at the time. And so the next morning I go to leave for New Jersey, and I take the dogs to the breeder, or to the dog watcher person. And this is important for a later part in the story, which will come in a couple of videos. But go to the airport, go to New Jersey, everything's fine, right? So I get to the hotel in New Jersey, and my mom's already there. And my sister was one of the, I think Jordan was the maid of honor, actually. Or was she a bridesmaid? I can't remember. Regardless, my sister was in the wedding, so she was not around us a lot. So my mom and I were kind of like solo adventuring. So we're sitting at the hotel bar, we're waiting for our room to be ready, and I'm telling her all about this. And I use the word soulmate. And again, this is on me. At this point in time, it's only been 4 days. That's fucking crazy. But I do think that some people can relate to that feeling. Sometimes it just feels like you can relate to somebody and you just feel seen. It is easy. It is comfortable. There is no awkward pauses. There is no searching for questions or answers. There is no answer that feels like it would be too much. However, at this point in time, everything has been via text. No phone calls, no audio messages, no FaceTimes, nothing. And at that point, it hadn't really crossed my mind because he was with his family, right? Like, he's with his parents. I knew that he was an only child. I knew that he was staying with his parents in Boston, whatever. So at the time, I really had not thought much of it. So I started talking to my mom, and I tell her about my meet cute, how I planned, and I masterminded my own meet cute for Sunday. And she's like, my mom is a very big, like, red flag girl. Like, she'd be running towards red flags herself. I love you, Carrie. But she will gladly call you out. She's not naive. She's not dumb. But she'll be like, that's a red flag. Like, what are you doing? So she looks at me. She's like, it sounds too good to be true. And honestly, it should have been a red flag that it was too good to be true. Too many green flags is absolutely, in some circumstances, a red flag. So if it's just a ton of green flags, that could be a good thing as long as there's nothing else that's going on. But too many green flags coupled with the fact that you haven't spoken to this person could be a red flag, right? So keep that in mind. So she's like telling me that it sounds good to be true. I'm like, no, it's not. La, 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 whatever. I'm not going to listen to my mom. I'm not going to give her that sort of satisfaction. So I actually got mad at her. We ended up getting over it, whatever. We go to dinner that night. And I end up, at this moment, I say something that I do regret as part of the story. Maybe I shouldn't regret it. Maybe I should have honed in on it more. But my mom and I were walking back from dinner to our hotel. And the topic of him came up again. I think that he had like texted me or something. And my mom asked me, she goes, okay, let's assume that this guy's not too good to be true. How do you know that they're not a catfish? Because she asked me if I'd heard their voice. And I said no. And I kind of gave her the same explanation that I just mentioned about family. It just hadn't come up. It wasn't like, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was necessary. But again, in hindsight, this person knows what I look like, what I sound like. They've seen me on videos on live. They know that I'm not made up. So I guess in hindsight, it does make sense that maybe they would have offered them like more of themselves and I would have required this, and I do now. But so my mom said the word catfish, and I was like, oh, no. Do you think I'm a fool? The stereotype, right? And so the part where I messed up on, at least what I think, is I said this to him. I made a joke. I said, my mom thinks that you're catfishing me, that you're too good to be true. Isn't that so funny? Ha ha ha. He got really defensive. He's like, why would she say that? What did you say to her? And I was like, well, I told her like all the similarities that we have, because this person had a lot of the things in our lives kind of matched up. Things that maybe I had talked about publicly, but I had not talked about them so obviously that it was obvious from this conversation. Like, for example, Newport, Rhode Island is one of my safe spaces. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. It's where my mom lived. We went to summer there every year, and then my mom ended up moving there. That's where she was living at the time. And this person said that they had, oh my God, that's so crazy, which is not this crazy. Boston is only 2 hours away from Newport, and they said that their parents had a summer home there. That's not crazy. That's just like a crazy coincidence maybe, and awesome. So I'm thinking to myself, there's so many cool things that just make sense. So I say this to them. He ends up sending me an audio message. No offer to FaceTime, because again, and I did not push it. I did not ask for anything at this point. I just mentioned this like whole thing in like joking fashion. So he sends me the first audio, and I'll never forget. I was sitting on my bed. My mom was sitting on her bed, and the audio comes through, and I go, oh my God, Mom, there's an audio. And we both got really quiet, and we listened to it. And I can't remember what her reaction was, but I think I remember her saying like, well, at least they're real. But the voice is definitely not manly, okay? I have played the voice on my TikTok. I'm not going to ruin the story yet and play it yet, but I might do that in the next video, because it's definitely not a very manly voice. But again, I have communicated with a lot of people over the years, and I just don't really think that you should ever judge a voice on that alone, because I don't know, I have always been told I have a very raspy, manly voice for a woman. I have met other guys that have more feminine. I don't know. I just wasn't like, maybe I wanted it to work so badly that I was not looking for the red flags, which is obviously a character trait of mine, because that's not the first or the last time that happens in my life, clearly. Regardless, I was like, wow, this was like a moment though of validation for me, because this person had offered me something that I had not asked for specifically, but that I was clearly needing in order to move forward. And I thought that was like, in my brain, I was like, oh my God, they see me. They hear me. They hear the concerns of my family, and they're just going to keep on keeping on. Saturday comes around. The wedding comes around. Having a great time. Telling people that I'm going to meet my soulmate the next day. I'm having way too much fun. I'm having way too many glasses of shit. And boy, do I feel like shit the next morning. But I am so dedicated to this cause that I leave the wedding early. I go and order a fuck ton of McDonald's, eat it in bed, set my alarm for 4 a.m. because I had to change my flight, you guys. I had to literally leave my hotel at 4 a.m. I had like purchased a whole like new, like, I wanted to look cute, but not look like I tried too hard. I purchased a whole new outfit, like a workout set to, like, you know, matching sweatpants and sweatshirt, because you don't want to like look like shit, but you don't want to look like you tried too hard. And I woke up, threw up, got ready, and was ready to go. So my Uber picks me up. I'm on my way to the fucking airport, and mind you, when I get into my Uber, this person's already texted me. They're already on their way to the airport in Boston. And I'm like, period. Love that for me. So he sends me a picture of him at the airport, like his bag and his shoes. It was like a downward photo. He's like, yep, I'm at my gate, blah, 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 blah. I get to the airport. Thank God there was one bar open in the whole airport, and I had him so I could breathe. If you have never flown hungover, I'm so jealous of you. You should not envy me, because there's nothing worse than flying hungover. Like, truly, when you're just looking at the amount of time left on the flight on the screen, and you're just counting down, like you're just praying to God you make it alive. That was me. Like, you're sweating it all out. I think I slept like half of the way, but in the second half I was just like, I need to get off this flight right now. But then I was freaking out. But before I got on the plane, this is the part I forgot to say, his flight got delayed. Remember, he had already told me which flight he was on, so I already had that motherfucking information. And the flight that he was on was delayed. I had looked it up. It was delayed 2 hours. My ass was not going to sit at the fucking Tampa airport for 2 hours. Obviously, that's crazy. I remember it even getting delayed more, to be honest. It got delayed even more later on. But so we agreed to rain check. So this was the first of, I need somebody to keep a tally of all the broken promises. Okay, this is the first, like, not even broken promises, but like the missed encounters or the missed dates. This was the first missed date, the first meet cute that was missed. At the time, I was like, thank God, because I look like a dirtbag person right now. I smell like shit. I look like shit. I'm hungover. I honestly need to go home and die on my couch. So that's exactly what I did. I went and I got Chinese food, went home. I picked up the dogs, went home. Cool. And honestly, it was no big deal. He's like, I feel like I need to take you on a property. Anyway, this is actually when we talked about like the whole, like, him feeling like it was fate, or like he doesn't like to use that word, etc. So he's like, I'm gonna take you out to Sushi on Tuesday night. So this is Sunday. I'm gonna take you to Sushi on Tuesday. There is a place over in Ybor that's like really good. He's like, he made reservations. I had got the open table notification for the reservations. Okay. So the day that we were supposed to get dinner was on Tuesday, November. The original plan was supposed to be for that Sunday, November. The reason that these days, like these dates are important, is because, as most of you have either figured out, or if you don't know anything about me, or if you didn't see my Liz video, or you just really don't know anything, later on this year on New Year's is when I was, luckily arrested in another country and had the shit beat out of me. That will be a video in and of itself, probably like the next one, or even the third one. I'm not sure, because I'm going to actually like go into more detail than I ever have before, which is very scary for me, but it's exposure therapy, I think. But that's why this is so important, because this entire thing took place within 1 month before that. That is how aggressive this entire encounter was. So I want you to picture for the next, so from the 29th through the 25th of December, we'll just classify this portion. That's where I'll get to today, till Christmas. I'm not going to sit here and go through every single event that happened, because I don't have all those details, because I didn't save everything at the time, because I really did not see this as anything of like value or concerning. There was a couple of instances that I do have records about, but just imagine that during that period of time, every other day a plan was made. So every time a plan was made, I'm the type of person that I'm going to clean my house. I'm going to stress about it. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to have anxiety. I'm going to feel every single emotion on the planet. And during that period of time, every time there was a letdown. So it's like this emotional roller coaster that had literally taken a grip on me that I cannot even really explain or try to get others to understand. When he canceled, so that's just kind of like to keep that in mind. So 30 days, we'll say 15 times. So roller coaster up and down 15 fucking times. So the first cancellation. So the first one was it was an understood mutual decision not to go forward with the coffee date because of the fucking delay. The next decision that was made by him, and he canceled the sushi date. He didn't cancel the date, though, until right before, and he canceled it for reasons that I could not understand, and it made me spiral into a fucking meltdown. And again, I'm going to call myself out for the behavior that I see now. That is extremely weird, bitch. After 1 week of knowing somebody, or after a week of talking to somebody. At this point in time, though, we had spoken on the phone a lot. We had not FaceTimed, because now, since the word catfish had been thrown out there, he did not like the feeling that he was having to prove who he was. What a red flag, girl. Fucking run the opposite direction. But again, at the time, I wanted to see it through. I wanted to make it work. So he cancels our date at the sushi place 2 hours beforehand, and he says it's because of his job and because of my presence online. This is one of those fights that I really do have a clear memory of, because I remember thinking, like, bro, you're not going to gaslight me. You knew exactly who I was. I'm sorry that your job found out. And then the reason that his job had found out is because I had a bunch of Reddit pages at the time, and somebody had left his initials, commented his initials. In hindsight, I should have known at that point in time that it was probably them, because what an easy out. But again, it makes no sense. It's almost like this person knew how to emotionally hold on to me and knew exactly what they were doing. This person was good, right? They're a professional. So that was canceled, and I was a mess. I don't know why either. In hindsight, I was so invested, and I was crying hysterically. I was like, how could this happen? Blah, 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 blah. Gross. This happened 15 more times. We had made plans between coffee, restaurants, just to picking us up, going for a drive, 15 times over the next 30 days. It had put me into such an emotional ditch on the side of the fucking road that I was drinking during the day. I would call out of work for half days. We had a Christmas party at my firm, and I'll never forget, we all were talking about it, and some of the employees were a lot younger than me, and they were like, Rachel, this is not good. First of all, recognize your value. But at this point, again, I was so invested. It felt like I was wasting my time, and it was just I don't know, disheartening, I guess. And I was just trying to prove a point to myself. I don't know, but there was not a single point proven, except for that I'm an idiot. Okay? So, fast forward. I'm at work one day, and I'm looking at the video right now on December the 6th. So this has only been, 2 weeks. And at this point in time, he's told me more about his last relationship. We're going to stay with a girl named Jessica. So we've got Brian. We've got Jessica. Okay? My best friend at the time, her name was Amanda. We speak, we're not best friends anymore, but not for anything associated with this. The Bahamas, but we'll get to that later. She was like, Rachel, I just have a bad feeling about this guy. She's like, I think that he's hiding something from you. So I actually said this to my paralegal, who's still my paralegal, and she was like, I'm going to do some deep diving. So my paralegal calls me into her office one day, and she's like, I don't want to show you this, but I'm going to show you this. She had found some way, shape, or form that had come up on her FYP, a video of somebody in Boston that had hosted a Friendsgiving. And guess who was in that video? Brian and Jessica, sitting next to each other, looking very, very happy. I brought this to his attention. He's like, of course we're friends. I try to keep as friendly with her as I can. I was honest with you about this. And I'm like, you know what? You were. Fuck off, Rachel. Quit being a psycho. You look insane, right? Then this happened. I get a call from my best friend Amanda, and she's like, Rachel, he's lying to you. He's got a girlfriend. Her name is Jessica. I just found her Facebook. I found Brian's mom's Facebook, and she sends it to me. And I'm just I'm distraught. So on December the 6th, I message her. So I'm going to put some of the messages on the screen that I can, but I have to obviously keep the keep it anonymous. I'm not even going to try. Why are there some words that I cannot pronounce? Anyway, I messaged her. I said, hello, Jessica. I am sorry to be sending such a random message, but I have tried to put myself in your shoes, and I think I would want to know, are you dating Brian? Blah, 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 blah. She gets aggressive immediately. She goes, first off, how did you get my information? Second, please send all information that you have, including phone numbers that this person has contacted you on, addresses, etc. The police have been trying to find this person, as this catfish has been going on for over 3 years. Whoever you think you are talking to is not Brian, and for your sake, unfortunately, a very dangerous person, so I would be careful if you have given them any personal information. And I go, oh my God, I found you through his mother's Facebook page because stuff just started not making any sense. I will gladly send you everything, and you can give law enforcement my information. I'm an attorney in Florida. She responds and says, please send everything that you have. We have been dealing with this for far too long. And I wrote back and I said, I don't even know what's real and what's not, honestly. I ran a background check on him because I had questions, and his phone number doesn't even come up as a registered to anybody. He has a TikTok account. That's how he found me. Honestly, I think you should just call me because it's a lot. So I gave her my phone number. One of the reasons why I always questioned whether this was real or not was because I reached out to this person. It's not as if this person reached out to me. That's always something that fucked me up. You know what I'm saying? So then she wrote back, she goes, I don't give out my number. This person uses an app to get fake phone numbers. And I was like, but this isn't a fake phone number. But I am so sorry that this is happening to you. She goes, it's chaos. And this person is dangerous. The amount of women who have messaged me is absurd. And I go, I can only imagine. I am a smart person and I am in shock. I'm seriously distraught. And she's like, girls give out their addresses and this person then will send them flowers. Why would you give your address to a stranger? Someone that you talk to online and have never met, spoke to on the phone or FaceTime should be a big red flag. If you're an attorney, what can you do to stop this and to find this person? I go, I'm going to reach out to a few people that I've worked with in the past and I will keep you posted. She goes, did this person give you their number or any personal information? And I said, just a phone number that I've been talking to an actual person for the last 2 weeks on. And she goes, can you send me the number? I need to keep track for police records. This is at 1:09 p.m. She said, this is criminal fraud and this person is a psychopath. And I go, yeah, clearly I'm freaked out. If you want to give law enforcement my information, you can, and I can provide them all the information that I have. I don't feel comfortable sending it through this application at this point because of obviously the uncertainties. I hope that you can understand. She says, okay, I will. Then she copies and pastes something about Catfish. And I go, do you have a specific contact person that I can reach out to? She then goes, keep in mind, I sent that last message at 1:09. It is now 1:14, and she says, I'm at the station now. I need all the information possible and the phone number that this person has been using. I go, I gave you my number. Law enforcement can contact me directly. I don't feel comfortable providing it over this messenger. I already said that. She goes, no, I am the one that's here and they want the information from me specifically. I go, with all due respect, as much as I would like to believe that, it's very hard for me to believe anything anymore, and I hope that you can understand that. Which even now, I don't think that's fucking weird for me to say because, hello. She's like, no offense taken, but you need to be careful who you talk to online. And then she goes, can you send me any information that would be of importance? This is now at 1:22 p.m. She says, respectfully, you have found me through my boyfriend's mother's Facebook. You contacted me. Therefore, at this point, you have opened up the case again, and it needs to end. And I said, you're right. I am sorry that I found it. I find it weird that you're already at the police station in a matter of minutes. So, yeah, with all due respect, I am freaked out, and you are asking me for things that I told you I don't feel comfortable with. I've given you my phone number, and I've told them they can contact me directly. Which, again, I don't know why that's not, more than enough. She goes, if you were in my shoes, you would do the same. If you ran a background check, what did you find? Send me the number you have been talking to. And then I didn't respond because I was literally on the phone with him. And then she sends this to me. She sends, so you are part of this? Good to know. The fact that you will not provide this information in a case like this speaks volumes. Good luck. So while I'm messaging her, I call him. And this is where it gets a little bit crazy, if you will. So I'm looking up these videos, obviously, to share some of them with you guys that I can. And it just reminded me of something else. So the profile picture on his mom's Facebook was actually one of the pictures that he had sent to me, from his trip up there. And it was his mom's Facebook profile picture. And it was a picture of him and somebody else. Him and Jessica. He had cropped her out when he sent it to me. So I'm actually going to play you guys a video. I guess I must have kept some receipts, and I wanted to record some of our conversations. So what I would do is I would record on my desktop. I did this a lot, actually. It's one of the things with Liz I've talked about. And some of the videos, I look extremely unwell. And so I think it's important for clarity and transparency to play them for you guys. I've never played them for anybody, so I'm going to try to include some of them. Some of them I won't be able to because there's confidential information or private information about them that I'm trying to keep private, or I look so unwell that I don't feel like it will add any value to the story, and if anything, it'll just make me just crash out. But so the first video I'm going to show you guys is this video was taken at 10 a.m. So this was the day that my paralegal had already found the video, right? And now my best friend Amanda has found his mom's Facebook and the picture of him and Jessica together. So I asked him about this, and this is the video, the response that I got. Okay? You had been in, you cropped out?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Just feels a little bit sketchy.
I don't know what's sketchy about it.
What's sketchy about it?
Yeah.
That you said that you guys have been broken up for a while, and there's literally photos of you guys from not that long ago.
Like I said, I have messages with Mom that are time-stamped. She just likes pictures of me, so she posts them.
And does too?
It was from December of a wedding, and then when we were in California.
Ew. I don't know why it's doing that whole, like, the lighting is, like, shifty, okay? So I should have done, like, a trigger warning, and maybe I will when I edit this, but I don't know why it's like that. It's just a real sketch, okay? So that happened at 10 o'clock in the morning that day. Then my conversation with Jessica happened later on that day. Like I said, around 12:30 to 12:45 to 1:22, right? So while I'm having this conversation with Jessica on the computer, I realize that I need to confront him, but I don't really know how to confront him because I don't want to expose that I've talked to her because I will look insane. I know. I was insane. So instead, I tell him that I was contacted by law enforcement. And lucky for you guys, I do have a recording of this. So I'm going to play this for you guys first. And I basically tell him that he needs to FaceTime with me now or else. Can you FaceTime with me really quick? I don't care. I was just contacted by law enforcement.
Yeah.
About you. So FaceTime with me and show me that you are who you say you are. Because they're telling me that you're not. I was just told that you're not. What? You can't do it for 1 second? What? There was another minute of me just fucking furiously typing. There's a couple things that I watched that video and I instantly see. Number one is my face. Holy fuck, my face was so bad. My skin was horrible. I was so anxious already. And I'm a picker, and oh my god. You can just always tell when I'm, like, going through something because of my face. Number two, my eyeballs look like they're popping out of their head. That real focus look, like, that's how I used to look when I was talking about Liz. Yeah, I know the audio on that sucks, but yeah, you get the point. So he hangs up on me, whatever. I end up calling him back later. At this time, when I'm typing, I'm messaging her. So what's weird is the next video that I wish I had for you, which I don't have, is we have another phone call. And during that phone call, it's right when she starts freaking out on me. And she starts freaking out on me because she calls him. So I'm on the phone with him. And I don't know why this one's not recorded, but he basically says, why the fuck is Jessica calling me? So keep in mind, I've only told him that the cops have contacted me, nobody else. And so, like, we're on the phone again because I called him back because I'm a psycho. And he literally says, why is Jessica calling me? Did you reach out to her? It was simultaneous with my messages with her. So, of course, in my mind, this was just another one of those moments where the puzzle pieces fit enough, where there was enough corroboration that this felt like a validating moment about who this person was and if this was real, because if they weren't real, how would they have known that? Why would she be contacting him when I'm on the phone with him? She wouldn't have. So my brain was like, girl, you are right. He ain't fake. That's just, everybody's saying that because they're crazy. You're not the crazy one. Yes, Rachel, you were the crazy one. Okay, so by the end of this day, so by the end of December the 6th, we have now found out that he has a mom who has a Facebook, which I become obsessed with, by the way. Like, I stalked that page every single day. We also know that he has this ex-girlfriend that's really not an ex-girlfriend, that believes that she's still a girlfriend. He ends up convincing me in a phone call that this woman is not, she's not accepting the fact that they are not in a relationship anymore, and that she's not being honest. He does confirm that this catfish situation has been a thing before, which is why the word catfish and my mom saying that about him triggered him so much, which honestly, again, it's the fucking, like, the validating moments like that. Like, of course, he's connecting the dots that I have questions about. Like, that to me would make more sense. So he says, you know what, I want to make it up to you, though. I don't have a relationship with her. I will tell my mom to stop posting pictures with her regardless of when they were taken. It's not fair to me or anybody else I would meet moving forward. He's like, and I want to make it up to you. I want to take you to dinner tomorrow night. I was like, okay, December the 7th, let's fucking go. Well, obviously, let's fast forward. We already know that doesn't happen. But I did just find a video from December the 7th that is kind of cringe, but also super, super on point to how I was feeling. And I basically was documenting how it just did not seem believable at this point, okay? So I'm going to play it for you guys now. Enjoy. We're going to record tonight's events because, honestly, I'm going to need proof for what has happened to remind myself of how fucking stupid that I am. Hi, my name is Rachel and I am a simp. Hi, my name is Rachel and I am a over-trusting fucking moron. I'm an over-trusting fucking moron. I'm the person that catfishes were made for. I'm going to go fuck all the way off and then I'll be back. I'm the person that catfishes were made for. I don't know who I was making that video for, but I did in fact not ever come back and finish the story time, okay? And the story time is being told now, okay? So I was very clearly distraught because the fucking dude had canceled. So those are really the only main videos that I have from this period of time up until Christmas. Keep in mind, so that's on the 7th, right? So he canceled. Between this period of time, his father had a heart attack. His mom found out that her cancer was back. He had to fly back to Boston 3 different times. And then the other reasons why he canceled plans were just like fucking crazy. But like I listened to this person cry on the other end of the phone, so it was believable, right? And I had already been told, and I could look online that his mom in real life had cancer. So again, it's a lot of things, okay? So between December the 7th and December 25th, it was just a constant fuckery. And I kept setting kind of timelines and deadlines of like when I would be at the end of my rope and when I would be fucking done with things. And I think internally I thought New Year's Eve. But on Christmas, I was so upset because I was like, why the fuck would you not come back for a holiday? Like, that's crazy. Like, this is important, etc. But I also understood that his family was important as well. I just made up every goddamn excuse in the book, every justification, every sort of explanation. And through therapy now, I realize that's what people do, right? We are trying to justify and try to make sense of things that don't make sense because we want them to make sense. We want them to come to fruition. We don't want to have been wrong. We don't want to have been catfished. We don't want to have acknowledged that and then it came true. Oof, baby girl, I have a lot to tell you, but you in fact were catfished. I know there is obviously some overlap and there's going to be some questions about Liz's involvement, which I will get to that at the end of all of this, but I will tell you as we go through these chapters, I will explain what my relationship was with her. So she and I were friends at this point, but we were not seeing each other. I did not see her since July. I didn't see her again until Christmas. So I didn't see her at all during this period of time. So she didn't know I don't even think that she knew what was going on, to be honest. One final kind of thought, and this is where I'm going to end this for today, because this kind of wraps up the first month, if you will. I had actually taken a break from because of this person. I know. Don't even look at me, okay? I was so unwell. I could not post content without it feeling fake, and that's just not who I am. So I had like not posted since I had ever started talking to him. And it wasn't until... Also, guys, can we please talk about how little Poppy was at the time? Oh my god, if you guys don't know, I have a dog. Her name is Poppy. Look at her. But I actually made a video on December the 15th, 2022, and I came back to TikTok, and it was right when the world found out that Twitch had died. And I made a video, and I'm going to play that as the last thing on here, on this little segment, so you guys get a view into the person that I was at the time. And that's the only reason why I'm really sharing it, and I'm sharing it because like that's how deep I was. So after this video, we will be all caught up through Christmas, and the next video that I will be making about this, so part 2 of the Catfish series, is going to be about the Bahamas. So I hope you guys I hope you're ready. I'm going to have to give all the trigger warnings in the fucking world. And I might need a glass of wine or something for that one. I don't know. I'm just being honest. But I'm going to post other videos in the meantime in between because this will be something that I'm going to tell over time. Just letting you guys know. I'm going to create a playlist. So I'm going to now play this video. I hope you guys enjoy. And then I'll be back with more about Christmas in the Bahamas very, very soon. What do you guys think? What do you think so far? I feel like I just look like an idiot. But you have to remember everything's in hindsight. And, yeah. Should have listened to my mother. But after this video, until next time, guys. Love you all. Hi, guys. I missed you. I've been here, though. I haven't left. Everyone thought I took a break. And I wasn't taking a break. I was just simply kind of like laying in the shadows, trying to understand where I fit moving forward. And today I realized that's not always about like where I think that I fit, but it's about where I fit for you guys. And I was in Michael's when I found out the news about Twitch. And I'm going to share something that only my sister knows, because I feel like in times like this, some of the happy stories like kind of get lost. And I wouldn't be here on this platform sharing my life with you guys if it wasn't for him and for Allison. And like I said, only my sister knows this. So I hope that I can add some additional like love and happiness for her through this terrible time, because again, people we don't even know have impacted us in ways that we don't understand until they're gone. Anyway, 2020 COVID, I downloaded TikTok. I saw this video of Allison, and she was, again, being a boss, which is hilarious to me because of her. She did this transition where she fell in her bed, and she stood up in this, like,
marigold yellow pantsuit. And I was like, I have to replicate this. I made a video, my first video ever, and it went viral. I woke up in the morning to over 3 million views. And my sister goes, what are you going to do with this information? Like, you're not a public person. You're a lawyer. And so I started, like, watching her videos. And that's when I learned that she was married to Twitch. And I had loved him for a long time because of Ellen. And I have been a dancer my whole life. And I just always, like, found his energy so positive and captivating. And it made me happy. And through their videos, I realized that I watched them for literally like hours, and I was like, if I can give anyone a minute of happiness like they've given to me, I was like, why would I not do that? So I started this journey literally because one person influenced me through a video. Ended up being married to someone that I'd already been so inspired by, and then their story together provided me such happiness that it made me want to give other people happiness. And regardless of where we are now and where they are, that will never go away. So, we never know what anyone's going through, but I'm so grateful for the happiness that they have given me and that hopefully I can give to you guys now because